How do you keep a sucker believing in Christianity? Frank Turek is going to tell us because, of course he is. It's just more anti-intellectualism and anti-education nonsense spewed by a moron who needs to keep his gravy train rolling. But what else is new? We're back with Frank Turek as he tries to explain why kids are leaving the faith. It can't be because the facts don't support Christianity. It can't be because Christianity has no evidence. No, it's gotta be something else. And Frank is going to explain it, or more properly, rationalize away the problems that would cause emotional distress to his paying audience. It's what Frank does. So let's go watch.
There's an alarming statistic of over 50% of students going into college and getting away from their parents and leaving the church altogether and leaving the faith behind.
That's not alarming, that's promising. It's a good start. But we're looking at things from a completely different perspective, you and I. I think the farther people can get from religion, the better. Whereas Frank and his fan club here want people to continue to mindlessly believe. I just want people to grow up and deal with reality as it is, no matter how that might make them feel. Accept personal responsibility for your thoughts and for your actions, and stop projecting onto an imaginary man in the sky. We have no reason to think that there are any gods. Certainly not who are going to come and save you from whatever your problems are. We have to save ourselves. Sorry if that bothers you.
Why do you think that is, and what needs to be done to prevent that? Because our job as active and faithful college students on campus seems to be more reactive to when that happens. How do we be more proactive to keep that from happening?
Now, again, I disagree with your premise. I don't think we should stop it from happening. I think we ought to encourage it. I think we should actively work toward that happening more often. I think we need to be teaching kids critical thinking skills from a very young age. The more that we can show them that religion is nonsense, the better. The sooner that we can lower this outmoded dinosaur into its grave, the better. But let's see what Fred Flintstone here has to say.
Good question. What I'm trying to do in our ministry is provide evidence that Christianity is true.
And exactly when do you think you'll actually start doing that, Frank? Because we all know that you have no actual evidence. You don't even understand what evidence is. But this is a problem that most theists seem to have. They think that anything they can present, rational or not, objective or not, that caters to their blind faith, well, that's got to be evidence. And nothing could be further from the truth. That takes me right back to the dictionary, where the definition of evidence is the available body of facts or information indicating whether a belief or proposition is true or valid. Facts, information, not feelings, not claims, not books of ancient mythology. Facts. Facts are demonstrable. And that's the one thing that Frank simply doesn't have.
But that's only one thing. There's many other things you can do. You can love people.
Sure, because that's going to convince people intellectually that Christianity is true. Oh wait, they don't actually care about intelligence. In fact, intelligence terrifies these people. They want nothing at all to do with intelligence, skepticism, critical thinking, or rationality. It's why so many Christians are terrified of education. But I think it's funny that for people who only want to emotionally appeal to their followers, they're doing it in what I'm assuming is a college setting. The fastest way to drive people away from religion is education.
And love does not mean approving everything they do. If a parent approves of everything his or her kid wants to do, is that parent loving?
Loving? Yeah, maybe. A good parent, though? Probably not. But as with so many other things, Frank asks one thing, but he really means something else. Because we see a lot of parents who essentially abrogate the responsibilities as a parent because they give in to everything their child wants. It produces spoiled brats, and we've got a lot of those today.
No, a loving person approves of things that are beneficial and does not approve of things that are harmful.
And what if I think that religion is harmful? Because religion, in and of itself, is a mind poison. It impacts everything that you do in your life negatively. Now, Frank and his side, they don't agree, obviously, but we have two entirely different goals. I want to produce the most rational, intelligent, and productive society that I can, where people can think for themselves and make decisions based on the best supported data. Frank wants people to be sheep and mindlessly follow him around, giving him money. I did say something about religion being harmful, did I not? There's a perfect example.
But what you can do is love people, let you know you care about them, and show them that there are answers.
How exactly do you plan on doing that? Because showing anyone anything requires that you have evidence to present, something that we've already established that Frank entirely lacks. All he can do is make claims and pretend that those claims are valid. It's really why so many religions smother people in love. It's to distract them from the clear and obvious fact that everything they're saying is nonsense.
But I think most of the reason that young people walk away when they get to college and even before college is A, they haven't been taught why it's true early on.
Yes, Frank, please explain why any of the garbage that you spout is true. Not why you believe it, not why you want it to be true, but why it is. How did you intellectually come to that conclusion? How did you test your beliefs to see if they were actually valid? What evidence can you present that supports your claims? And the answer to all of that is nothing. Nothing at all. You've done no intellectual work whatsoever. It's all feelings, no facts. You can't show someone that Christianity is true if nothing shows Christianity to be true. Come on, Frank, this can't be that hard.
Secondly, it hasn't been modeled in the home or at church.
Oh, I'm sure it has been. Intolerance, irrationality, empty claims, mindless, rote ritual, forcing kids to sit in a hard pew on Sunday morning, being bored completely out of their minds. Nobody has any good answers to the questions that kids invariably ask. And then, when kids go to school, even from a very young age, they are taught, hopefully, to ask questions, don't blindly believe, seek out evidence, and care about the truth. Those are all things that religion violates. Religion teaches you to sit down, shut up, and blindly believe. And then you wonder why your kids go, this doesn't make any sense.
And thirdly, there are moral reasons not to believe in God when you go to college. What are they? Well, you don't want to do everything your parents told you. You don't want to do everything the Bible or God says. You're out on your own for the first time. You want to live it up a little bit. Look, I've been there. I know what the deal is, right?
Yeah, that's not why people do it. This is just Frank rationalizing away reality. This is not rebellion. This is honest inquiry. Often, these kids are being educated for the first time in their lives, where their parents can't just tell them that reality is wrong because it disagrees with the Bible. And that's the thing that Frank doesn't want to address. It's a culture shock. You have all of the emotionally comforting lies that religion has taught these kids growing up, slamming headlong into demonstrable, objectively verifiable reality. And for an ever-growing number of people, reality is winning. This isn't kids rebelling against their parents. This is reality showing them that the absurd beliefs that they were raised with are wrong.
In other words, there's a moral hazard when you get out on your own.
Sure, you can't be carefully controlled, and that's what religion is all about. Control. It's why so many religious parents homeschool, so they can maintain control. It's why so many churches speak out against education, so they can maintain control. If you control what people have access to, you control how they think. Just ask Communist China. It's a well-established tactic for authoritarian beliefs. Don't let anyone see that there's an opposition. Tell lies about it. Pretend that you know all about it so you can smear those who disagree with you. It's why they talk about atheists and not with atheists.
In fact, I was talking to somebody over here earlier today who was saying, well, it was their daughter, and I asked them, how's your daughter doing? And she said, well, she's doing okay, but she's not really all that interested now. I said, is it because she doesn't think Christianity's true, or is it because she wants to do something that God doesn't want her to do?
I don't know. Why don't you go ask the daughter instead of asking for someone else's opinion of what they think is going on in her head? Because that's what rational people do. They don't sit around and talk about other people. They go and directly engage what other people are saying. Frank seems to have a pretty serious problem with that, doesn't he? Maybe that's because if he actually had to talk to the opposition, to people who have different opinions, he couldn't make up these convenient stories to use when he's on stage.
And she said, bingo.
Yeah, I bet she doesn't know either. How about you bring the daughter into the conversation and see what she has to say? But of course, that won't happen because, it just gets in the way of his narrative.
Yeah. Most of the time it's not here, it's here. They don't want it to be true.
That seems to be Frank's go-to claim. It's his way to rationalize away objections to his theology. But it isn't the heart, it's the head. It's people who have learned that Christianity is false. It's people who have looked at the claims of Christianity, compared them to demonstrable reality, and found Christianity to be completely lacking. It's people who have rejected faith in favor of demonstrable facts. And that's something Frank can't come to grips with. He can't accept it, because the second that he does, everything falls apart. The second that he acknowledges that there are facts out there that contradict his beliefs, he's done. He's got nothing else. So he has to keep making excuses for why people leave the fold. It can't be because his religion is wrong or rationally indefensible. It has to be something else. And instead of asking people who are leaving the faith why they're doing it, he has to make something up to comfort those who remain by his side. Because reality, that's just not important, is it? It doesn't matter at all. He's got his meal ticket to think about. That's what he wants to preserve. Whether any of the crap coming out of his mouth is true or not, that's completely irrelevant. Keep packing them in and collecting that money. That's all he cares about. Is there anyone out there who honestly doesn't understand that?
Bum